eat a fig, I'm sorry. A fig that it was already ripe. Perdechla gemi puts on it a little string. Simon has a sign. Magdish and he makes it hektish. Vein bikurim al mashivas aminim. Bikurim only comes from the 7 minim amurim b'Torah b'mikra that is mentioned in the Torah. It's chitos oira. It's fine if it's not set up. It's
It's all right. It's all right.
and it's chitos oira.
We can move it over there. Huh?
Okay.
Move it on that side.
So this is the Rashi. This is the Rashi. This is the Rashi. Let's just read a little bit from Tshuva from Reb Shimon ben Tzemach. He was the last Gadol B'Yisrael that lived in Mallorca, and he was expelled with the Jews from Mallorca the year 1391. He was moved to Africa, and there's 3 volumes of his Tshuvas, and the Tshuvas, the Tashbets, they're very important. They're always quoted in the Shulchan Aruch. Shalta b'shnas hashmita v'ayovel b'may oisen oime b'pesach v'shtei alechem b'atzeres acher shen chodesh v'kotzer. Amen. What happens in the year of Shemita? How do you bring the offering of the Omer on Pesach, or the offering of the Shtei Alechem on Shavuos? There's no harvesting. Would they bring Bikurim on the 7th year? Shuva, you asked a wise question, says the Tashbet. When you're asking about if they brought the Omer and the Shtei Alechem, it was brought because things are called Svichim. Svichim is if you don't cultivate a field, next year this still stuff is going to grow. It's called Svichim. Kenu b'Mishnah Shkolim b'Menochas. Chen Rambam Perek Achem Hecha Shkolim L'nei Bikurim, and the question of Bikurim, Rashi Kosav v'Pashas and Kesef Talva. Rashi writes, Shahoyim Mevirim Moisem b'Shnas Shmita. They would bring the Bikurim. Obviously they used to bring it, and they used to, because when they used to come with the basket, they used to say a whole thing from the Torah and Dvorim, that it was like it was thanking Hashem for taking out of Egypt, giving us the Holy Land, giving us the fruit. So they would bring it the year of Shemitah. You didn't ask him. You didn't ask him about all the other things from the field. The other things are potter. Because your field is hefker, doesn't belong to you. So how could you offer to the Kohen Truma and to the Levi Mises and to the poor man? Pay it. It doesn't belong to you. What are you offering to? Okay. So all happens to be we'll get back to the halachic part of this Rashi. All the commentaries on Rashi here say that this Rashi must be a mistake. It's a typo. What do you mean? That on Av B'Shvi is Chayeves B'Bikurim. What does it mean that it's Chayeves B'Bikurim? How could there be such a thing? The field is not your field. How could you be Chayev B'Bikurim when it's not your field? So the Maral Meprak says erase it. The Guraria says erase it. Rabbi Eliyahu Mizrahi erase it. The Or HaChaim says erase it. How do you erase a whole line from Rashi? It's not an expensive answer, but Rashi wrote it. How do you erase it? And the question is, how does Rashi thinking that there's going to be Bikurim in a year? The field doesn't belong to me. I'm not bringing Truma. I'm not bringing Maisis. I'm not bringing all the how am I going to bring the fruits of the Beis Hamikdash? It doesn't belong to me. And how am I going to say, thank Hashem for Priyad Moscho, the fruit of your land? It's not of my land. It's not my land right now.
Well, it's so fair, right?
That's what they said. It was a Tod Sefer.
It's not your land because it's the Shemitah year?
It's Shemitah year. It's not my land. Then there's a whole bunch of questions that Rebbe says you could ask on Rashi. Why is Rashi important over here to explain to a little child exactly how you do the mitzvah of Bikurim? You go down to the field, you take a little string, you tie it on the first fruits. And if Rashi thought it was important, a few psukim earlier where it says the mitzvah that you have to do all the mitzvahs in order. You have to get first Bikurim, then Truma, then Maisas. So explain it there. So why is it all of a sudden here? It's not the first time the Torah is talking about Bikurim. Rashi how do we do Bikurim? And Rashi says giving you an elaborate thing of how to do a Bikurim. And then, why does Rashi give you more information? That Bikurim is from Shivas Aminim. What's in this pasuk that's bothering a child? That Rashi starts giving all this information, and he quotes the pasuk Chitos Oira. Why Chitos Oira? Mention all 7, or mention only one and say V'goymer. What's going on in this pasuk? So the Rebbe says like this: the Pashtus, a child is learning this pasuk from these 10 psukim, and nothing fits. The Torah says 6 years you should work in your land, and then the 7th year you should rest, and you should make it hefker. Then it says 6 days a week you should work, and the 7th day you should rest. What's the connection? And then it says right after that you should celebrate 3 times a year in the holidays. What's the connection? Rashi asks, and Rashi brings in the Mechilta. Rashi answers. A person's going to say, because this whole year is one big sabbatical, I don't have to keep Shabbos. The whole year is Shabbos. Why do I have to keep Shabbos? Six years I have to keep Shabbos. The 7th year, it is Shabbos. Why do I have to keep Shabbos? And also a person would say, who keeps the 3 holidays now? The 3 holidays, Pesach, Shavuos, Sukkot, has to do with the grain. When you cut the harvest, when you gather the harvest, when you bring it in from the field, there's no cutting harvest, there's no planting, so there's no Shalosh Regalim. So that's why the pasuk says that even though the pasuk says 6 days you should work, 6 years you should work in the field, the 7th is a sabbatical. However, you should still keep Shabbos, and even though you're not working in the field, so therefore, based on that, Rashi continues and says, the child says, what's this mitzvah have to do? It's like so incoherent. What's going on in the psukim? Rashi says the same answer here. Rashi says, you might say the field doesn't belong to you. It's everyone could go into the field and pick. Also, the animals could come take it, eat from your field. It doesn't belong to you. So you shouldn't take Bikurim. So therefore, the Torah is saying, don't make these 3 mistakes. Don't say that in the year of sabbatical there's no Shabbos, no holidays, and no Bikurim. There is Shabbos, there is 3 holidays, and there is Bikurim. That's what Rashi says. Reish is Bikuri ad Mascha. Af Shviz chayev is Bikurim. Also Shviz is chayev to bring Bikurim. Lakach nema Bikuri ad Mascha. Ketzad, how does that happen? What's the question, Ketzad? Not how do you do Bikurim. If you learn the Mishnah and Bikurim, it'll tell you exactly how to do it. There's a very long thing, and how they all sleep in the Rechoy Shalir, and they make the big procession, and the bull, and the horns, and the baskets, and the music, and the pigeons. We're not talking about Ketzad, how we do the mitzvah. Ketzad, how do you do a mitzvah Bikurim when it's not your field? It's not your field, it's Hefke. So Rashi says, Ketzad, how do you do the mitzvah? The answer is Rashi, a person goes into the field, we're not talking about that a person picked the fruits yet. The mitzvah Bikurim primarily was that what's on the tree, that a person put a string on it, on the first fruits, and he said, this is hektish. He didn't, it's not like he took yet anything, it didn't take anything.
So he's saying
so it didn't take anything.
Put a sign on
so he's saying that on the 7th year, he still has fruit from the year before.
Not because he has fruit from the year before. The fruit that's growing this year, if you're going to tell me Truma means I cut it and I give it to the kohen. Who are you to cut it and give it to the kohen? It doesn't belong to you. Maisa, cut it and give it to the Levi. Who are you to cut it to give it to the Levi? Rashi says, but by Bikurim, the main part of the Bikurim is not the cutting it. The main part of the Bikurim is that the first fruit that grows, you put a string over it, and you say, this belongs to Hashem. You didn't cut it or do anything to it. So that's the main part of the Bikurim. So therefore, this is a mitzvah that's possible to do on Shemita. The other things you have to cut and deliver. Here, you're just declaring that belongs to the Eibishter by putting a string over it. And then Rashi continues. That Rashi says, why am I talking about a te'ena? The Mishnah also talks about a te'ena. Why a te'ena? Which is a fig. Ve'em bikurim ela mashivas aminim amurim mikra, because bikurim is only the 7 fruits. Eretz chitosoida. Chitosoida, we know that it can't be one of the bikurim, because Rashi already said that the barley we bring as a first offering, the 2nd day of Pesach. The wheat we bring as an offering Shavuos, and that's why we start the bikurim the day after Shavuos. Because the first barley is brought the 2nd day of Pesach. The first wheat is brought the first day of Shavuos. Right after Shavuos is when we start the mitzvah Bikurim. So we're 5 fruits. Which is the first fruit that gets ripe? And Rashi says in Pashas Noach that there is several seasons in the year, and one of the seasons is called Kayitz. What's Kayitz? And Rashi says Kayitz means dried figs. Dried figs. That's called Kayitz. Kayitz, it brings a pasuk in Tanakh. So obviously this is the first fruit from the 5 fruits that ripens. So that's why we say Adam nichnas te'ena. That's why Chazal use the lashon te'ena. Summarize. So Rashi is basically bothered by the question that a child might ask when he's learning the pasuk. You tell me there's a mitzvah of keeping Shemita, and then you're telling me a mitzvah to keep Shabbos, a mitzvah to keep the 3 Yom Tovs, a mitzvah from Shemita. What's the connection? Like, it doesn't, the psukim don't flow. So Rashi is answering that you might think, it's a year of a sabbatical, it's Shabbos. We don't have to keep Shabbos. No, you do have to keep Shabbos. You might think, it's a year we don't work in the field. We don't keep the 3 holidays. 3 holidays is a cycle of what's going on in the field. No, you do have to keep it. It's Shemitah, the fruit doesn't belong to me. I don't give Bikurim that year. No, you do give Bikurim that year. And that's what Rashi is coming to say. Okay. Now let's talk about the halacha of it. You are machavan to Chazon Ish. It's not bad. The Chazon Ish brings this Rashi. And the Chazon Ish dealt a lot with the halachas of mitzvahs that are going on in Eretz Yisrael.
Was big and
He says it can't be. What Rashi says can't be true. Rashi probably meant the fruits that were left over from the last year. But if you read what I just quoted you from the Tashbetz, obviously the Tashbetz read the Rashi straight. No, he says, someone asked him, is there Bikurim in the 7th year? He says, yes. There is no Truma, no Maises, there are Hefkins, but Bikurim there is. He says, why would Rashi said so? So there really there is a discussion. There is the Maram Shik says that perhaps the question is like this. There's a dispute among the Beis Yosef and the Mabit. How does Shemitah work? Is it belong to me and I declare the field Hefker? Or is it that the Eibishter declared it Hefker? It has nothing to do with what I did or not. He says maybe that's the Shaila. If you say that the Eibishter declares it Hefker, it's Hefker, that's not up to me. If you say I've declared Hefker, okay. So, but first I'm going to do the mitzvah of Bikurim. First I'm going to do the mitzvah of Bikurim. That's what the Maram Shik says. But based on what the Rebbe's answer is no. Even if you say it's Hefker, but Truma is I have to cut it and give it to the Kohen. It doesn't belong to me. How can I give it? Ma'aser, I cut it and I give it to the Levi. How can I give it? It doesn't belong to me. Bikurim, the main part of the mitzvah is not the cutting it and then bringing the Beis HaMikdash. The main part of the mitzvah is to go and put a string on the first fruits that grow and declare that belongs to the Eibishter. And therefore that could be done also on the Shemitah year. That's the Chidush and that's the answer, and that's the way that Rebbe is learning in this Rashi. There was a story that Rabbi Hillel Paritcher came once to a city, and he was there for Shabbos, and he goes Shabbos morning. He's going to shul, and he sees that there is a lot of businesses that are open on Shabbos. He comes to shul. He does not starting to daven. He's like, well, what's going on over here? What's going on? He said, you don't understand that the main parnos in the city is from selling liquor. And when the goyim get their paychecks in the weekend, so they spend it Shabbos to buy liquor. If you're not selling liquor to the goyim on Shabbos, they're gonna find somewhere else to buy it. So we're not gonna make money. So he said, how could a yid be machal Shabbos? They said, no, they have goyim working in the stores. He said, no. You can't have goyim working for you at Shabbos. Okay, the Rabbi Hillel Paritcher was a big tzaddik, and he was Yedua that his brachas worked. And the Rabbi Hillel Paritcher said he wants to make a meeting of all the people, all the shopkeepers, and he wants to talk to them. Well, he right away sat down and he told them about Shabbos and the importance of Shabbos, keeping Shabbos. The Rabbi Shalom gives us a day of rest and the Kiddush of Shabbos and what it does for Yiddish and Neshama and Shabbos. So they were inspired. They said, Rebbe, we're with you. But they said there's one man that didn't come to the meeting. We're all going to close our shop. One shop is going to be open. What do you think is going to happen?
He's going to do business.
He's starting all the business. So what is it going to help? If all the Jews are going to close the business, okay. So that's what we'll all do it. So Rabbi Hillel said, okay, it's a good idea. So call that shopkeeper. That shopkeeper wasn't interested in coming. So they went to call him. He said, who does this guy think he is? Who does this guy think he is? So they told Rabbi Hillel that this shopkeeper is not coming. Rabbi Hillel got very upset. Rabbi Hillel said, let him know that he has a choice, he can come, but otherwise he will regret it. Rabbi Hillel used to travel on the behest of the Tzemach Tzedek. The Tzemach Tzedek said he had 2.5 chassidim. I once spoke about it. He said Hillel was half a chassid, because the other half he said was a rebbe. He taught him how to take kvitlach, how to give brachas. Tzemach Tzedek, he had the Rabbi Hillel to travel around to give brachas. Can you imagine? So he said, okay, fine. You know what? We're going to start with davening. We're going to make a kiddush. We're going to celebrate that in this town they're going to start keeping Shabbos. So they davened, they made a kiddush. And in the middle of the kiddush, this shopkeeper's wife came running. Their husband is in Yesurei Mavis. He's dying from pain. Rebbe, we know it's from you, so what do we do? So the Bill said, it's not from me. He said, when we make the Mishabirach, we say, Shabbos he milizak urefuah kolay v'lava. If Shabbos will stop screaming, the refuah will come. Wow. Shabbos is screaming for its honor, so therefore the refuah is not coming. If Shabbos will stop screaming, so if two men could go to the house, and your husband will make a vow that he is closing the shop on Shabbos, refuah kolay v'lava. So two people went with the woman, and he made a tekiyas kaf that his shop is closed on Shabbos, and that moment he was healed. That moment he was healed.
Which city was that again?
I don't know in the story. He was at Rabbi Hillel, lived in the city of Parich, and he wrote 2 svarim called Pelach Orima. Actually, recently reprinted. Okay, so this is a story about Shabbos, and now, but the 6 days a week a Yid has to work. But 6 days after a week a Yid has to work. There's a story about the Tzemach Tzedek. The story about the Tzemach Tzedek was that there was a chassid that came to tell the Tzemach Tzedek that Baruch Hashem, he's wealthy, and since he's Baruch Hashem, he doesn't need much more, and he's a wealthy man, a Baal Tzedakah. He decided he's closing. He's out of the business. He's going to sit and learn. He's out of the business. So Tzemach Tzedek said, no, a Yid. There's no such a thing, retirement for a Yid. Remember we spoke about it recently, the Rebbe's thing, when the Rebbe, this year, 70 years of the Rebbe's leadership, when the Rebbe became 70, people thought that the Rebbe maybe is going to semi-retire or something. And the Rebbe gave a whole fabring, it was a televised thing, a whole thing about that Adam la'omal yulad. And a person, we spoke about this one of the shurim, that a person was made to toil. The Gemara says that the Rebbe explained that it's a human condition to if a person, the Gemara says, Adam reitz b'kav shalo yiroitz mit tisha kav shel chaveda. If a person can work hard and make one kav, one bag of wheat, he would rather that than get for free 9 bags of wheat from his friend. That's the condition the Eibishter made into a human being. And the Rebbe explained that for Brengen, the reason the Eibishter made that is because the Eibishter wanted a human being should be a shutaf l'Kadosh Baruch Hu b'ma'aseh bereishis, should be a partner with the Eibishter in the creation of the world. And what is a person a partner to the Eibishter? When a person creates. If a person was created didn't have this nature in his DNA, so it would never be pushed to create, to innovate, to work. Yeah, if I can get it for free, why not? I'll get it for free. If it's free, it's free. Why not? It's better. It's free. It's easy. The Eibishter made that goes against the grain of human nature. A person wants because he wants to earn it. Because with that he becomes a shutaf l'Kadosh Baruch Hu b'ma'aseh bereishis. Tzemach Tzedek said no, not a good idea. You could a little less time in your business, but not a good idea. Okay. He thought that this was a good piece of advice, but he thought otherwise. Why does he need? He has money a hotter, geld hotter. Why does he need this headache? You sit and learn a machayik, you sit in koilo. It's very nice. It's geschmack. That was it. Checked himself into a koilo. You know how it's in the koilo. The other day, I was reading from someone. He said that every Mokemes HaKadoshim, all Mokemes HaKadoshim, you go, there is coffee, there's tea, there's rogalach. One place there isn't. In the koisel. He said, why not? He said, because Satmar, they don't go to the koisel. So wherever they go, the Mokemes HaKadoshim make sure there is a little tea, there's coffee. So Taka said, Gerber should go off, and the last night my wife goes to Kinnis HaShluchas, says, I'll drive you there. So because parking be so hard. So what are you going to do? I said, it's in Williamsburg. We're in the first base Medrash. I'll go in. There's plenty about the Medrashim. Machai, come in base Medrash. There is seltzer if you like. There's coffee. There's milk. There's sugar. It's all set up nice. The Svardim are set up. Ayid checks into the koilo. It's Gan Eden. Problem is, he's in the koilo for a short time, and Nebuch gets ill. And it gets worse. Doctors can't figure out what the problem is. And Rahman al-Islan, it gets worse and worse, and he's dying. His children came running to Lubavitch and they asked a bracha of Tzemach Tzedek. Tzemach Tzedek said, but I told him that he shouldn't go out of the business. So he should go back to the business. So they went to the Baruch Shalom, the oldest son, great-great-grandfather, the Rebbe. They said, what do you mean back? He's dying in his deathbed. What do you mean he's going to go back to the business? How's he going back to the business? So he went to his father. Tzemach Tzedek said that a person that always keeps his machshavas clean, that whatever goes into his machshava, that's the way it is. When he asked me for advice, I told him that he should not leave the business. If he wants to live, he has to go back into his business. So the Baruch Shalom went back to the sons. He said, listen, just scream into his ear that he has to go back to the business. So they ran back to their town, and they were screaming in his ear, Tata, Tata, you're going to go back to your business. You go back to your business. All of a sudden he opened his eyes, shook his head. And they helped him. They got him out of bed, and they schlepped him out of bed. And Kachave, it's a bislach, had it for Shleiman. He went back to his business. So the Eibishter will help him that we should be able to do this. That we should have the two things. We should have the work, which is in a cycle of 6 days and Shabbos, 6 years and Shabbos. It's important that there is the 6 days of the week that a Yid works, and then Shabbos, whatever the Yid does in the 6 days of the week, gets elevated in the Kedusha of Shabbos. And there's a constant cycle. It's just like there is in 6 days of the week. Same thing in Eretz Yisrael, 6 years, and the sabbatical, Shvius, Shemita. There's that cycle. A Yid works. The fact that a Yid has to work, that there has to be a Yid in every place in this world, in every time in this world, is not just because we think we need to make a living. And what's if the Eibishter gave gesund leben and you win a lottery ticket? So, but that's not what the Eibishter wanted, that there should be Yidden all around the world. And the 6 days of the week, they should work. And the 7th day, all their work goes up in the Kiddush of Shabbos, and the davening of Shabbos, and the Zemiris of Shabbos, and the Kiddush of Shabbos, and there's a cycle. There's 6 days of the week, and then there's Shabbos. And same thing, there's 6 years, and then there's Shabbos. And this brings us, this is what Rashi is saying, that don't get confused, that just because it's Nishnas Shemita, that we don't keep Shabbos. There's a 6 years in the Shabbos, and 6 days of the week in the Shabbos, and then there is the 3 seasons of the year, and then there's Yom Tov, and even the year Shmita, we keep all this. David shall help and taka that in the schus of all the work that Yidden have done in all these years of Golus, that we should finally go into the big Shabbos, in the days of Mashiach, Yom Shekula Shabbos, Amanucha L'chai Elomen.
Amen.
L'chaim, l'chaim. Tonight is a special night. Tonight is the Yortz of the Rebbetzin. Schusa, the Rebbe's wife. Schusa Yogan Aleinu. L'chaim.
I went to the morning to the oil. Such a big line.
Okay.
Wow.
It was a nice crowd last night. Yeah.
Let's first say Anigin, the Beinani, the Rebbetzins father. Can someone start the Beinani? Oh, es ve'karai ve'yashminu ve'erach mamle yenei kol chai le'mor kol ti'eschem achris ki'ivritchis le'yais lachem le'la'yim kol ti'eschem achris ki'ivritchis le'yais lachem le'la'yim The Friedrich Rebbe writes when he was about how he was arrested. He does a shima. He writes how they did a search in his house, and they went through all his rooms. Describes how it went on, and he says he overhears a conversation from the other room with his daughter Chaya Mushka. The Rebbetzin, Aleh Shalom. She was actually a kala at that time, but it wasn't past shaykh to get married. It just took a long time till eventually they got married. But she had a pikhus that she saw that her chassan Pum came to the house. So she went to the window and she said, "Hey, Shneyason, we have guests in the house." He understood that meant not only take off, but start getting involved in the rescue. Al Kaponim, the Friedrich Rebbe said that he overheard the conversation between the KGB agents that were talking to his daughter Chaya Mushka, and they asked, "Which party do you belong to?" And then, which young person in Russia didn't belong to a party, and obviously which party? But it was like within the. It was all the same, from the same Beis Akise, but So she said, "Bez parteina, I don't belong to any party. The only ideology I go by is the ideology that my father stands for, which is B'nai Yisrael Akshedes." And the Friedrich Rebbe said that at that time his heart filled up with pride. At the same time, he was very scared because Rahman al-Islam, these Mishagoyim they can get angry in 1 second what they could do. But Kaponim, you see that it's a rare thing because the Rebbe's never told about herself, and the father usually didn't talk about her. But it's a rare thing to see that what kind of person that Rebbetzin was from this little incident, which is the pride of being Jewish, and the willingness to have Mesiras Nefesh. So l'chaim. This is really a connection to the Tanya that we learned today. The Tanya says that the power of the Mesiras Nefesh is the power behind all mitzvahs. Every mitzvah, if a Yid realized that if I was in a situation where my whole Judaism was in question, I'd be willing to die al Kiddush Hashem. But every Aveda that makes a disconnect between me and Hashem. It's just that I don't realize it. It's hard to try to desensitize me. But the truth is that every Yid has the koyach of Mesiras Nefesh. So l'chaim. We should realize that koyach of Mesiras Nefesh, and in it, and the Mela, we should stand strong in all the principles of Torah mitzvahs.
Amen. Amen.
No, we did the rating already. You could do Shamil Nigid.
Who's who? Reb the Rebbetzin, her mother.
Friedrich Rebbe's mother. Friedrich Rebbe's mother. She was the first person buried there.
And then came
everything around it.
So who's
that's further away.
further down?
yeah. No, they have this mother. Yeah, yeah. Jersey. Ato v'chartonu mikol ha'amim, Avdoi sanu v'ratzi samanu, V'rayim avdanu mikol ha'shonos, V'kidashtanu v'mitzvosecha, V'keirachtanu v'milulav v'zasecha, V'shimcha kadol v'akadol, Shalinu kodatzoi, Ato v'chartanu mikol Mazel tov, yes. Mazel tov, Pinchas. Mazel tov. You got the baby, the turtle, who mazel tov, Mitzvah Shem. You should avoid. So, yeah, Mitzvah Shem. You should be media us Mitzvah Shem at the time of his chuppah. Mitzvah Shem.
You going to the bris, Isa?
I'm praying to.
She made that.
L'chaim, l'chaim. Tonight is in Lubavitch, a special night. It's Yortz at Ebbison. Also, Kinnis Ashluchas, unbelievable thing. Ever happened in history, such a thing of so many women that got together from every corner of the world to Tachnan Eitzah, to get together to Mechazek about how to pick up every Yid.
That was the Hayom Yom.
Yeah, Yom Yom. So, L'chaim, l'chaim. The Rebbe once told a story. He said there was once a Yid that came to shul, Erev Pesach, with a baby, mamish, a baby, a nursing baby. So someone in the shul said to him, "Excuse me, sir, what are you bringing? Not Tzvi, but a baby. Tzvi is a big kid already."
Yeah.
So someone said to the father, what's this? So he said, wow, what do you mean? The baby wanted to nurse, and it was a very pushed the Yid. The baby wanted to nurse in the morning, but I told his mother, how could the baby nurse? The baby's a b'chor. The baby's a b'chor. he has to hear a siyum. So the person make latzonis. He has to push the yid. Razev on panimayit. The baby understands something from the siyum. So the Pashto man said, Razev ya panimayu. Do I understand anything from the siyum? So just like I don't understand the word, the kid doesn't. Mach the shtois, but I come to the siyum and he comes to the siyum. So we learn a big thing. A lot of times by men there's this, till you understand it, until you. But by women we see this thing of Kabbalah Sel Malchus Shemayim, the chayis that there is a mitzvahs, that nasa v'nishma. So that's something special that we learn from the Shei B'nai Yisrael. So l'chaim, we should take that lesson. We should take the lead from the women in this, and the Eibusha should help. The Eibusha should show us a mitzvah Hashem, just like in the days that Yidden went in Mitzrayim, schus nashim tzedkonius. The same thing now. There's unbelievable nashim tzedkonius you see in this door, and in their schus we should have the yitziyah from this goal of the bias Mashiach tzedkenu. L'chaim.
Okay, but nashim tzedkonius, this was in the Hebrew paper.